All right.
Oh my God! On the phone I have to hit more buttons. Where do you think it'd be best? Should I go in the car so it's not as windy out here? What do you think?
The car is a great idea.
Yeah. All right. My lesson agreed with you. They said, yeah, go in the car. I think it's because they're tired of listening to me, frankly.
Well, it could
So
be,
like,
but also, it's your excuse to walk away from them.
You shaved. What are you doing?
Yeah. It's either got to grow completely out or it's got to go away because it kind of gets a little long and scraggly and red.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, you're a young dad now, so you got to look younger. So that's it, you know.
That's it. I'm just doing whatever I can to look as young as possible.
Exactly. It's like, wait a minute, he is young. Hold on. Where did that face come from? All right. Now I also got to remember I'm driving my mother's car, so I'm looking for the minivan, not the Buick.
Ah, nice and comfortable. I like it.
Oh, but what a miserable ride. I'm shocked. I mean, It is old, so I'm assuming that's part of the problem. But I'm like, wow, this is a bumpy ride. The Porsche's not mine. That's all I know. Okay, good news. Where did I park? Oh, other side. That's it. So how are you? Oh, I lost you.
You reminded me, I don't usually wear a hat indoors, but I need the GoTennis representation, right?
Because my hair is all over the place. I still haven't got my haircut. All right, I am in the car. I'm going soundproof. Oh, yeah.
I like it. I'm going to let in Laina.
All right.
Oh, sweet. You're sideways.
Yeah, because if I do it the other way, I'll block the... Do I block the speaker? Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, cool. I can do it like that.
Yeah, we get a few minutes, of course, to try to figure everything out and see how it works and see if we can see everybody, see if we can hear everyone.
Is she coming? Is she in?
She is
here.
in.
Can you hear me?
All right.
And you're really far away. But
Okay.
then again, I'm usually fairly loud.
Can you hear me now?
There you are.
Okay.
Perfect.
Hi.
We are extra early on West Coast time, right?
8 a.m. Not too
Yeah,
bad.
okay. So not extra early, but extra early to be full speed.
Let me see if I can turn my volume up there.
Where on the West Coast?
Yeah, I'm in San Diego.
Oh, very nice. How close to where did I used to go? Gosh, not La Jolla. That's obviously
La Jolla is beautiful. Is that where you used to visit sometimes?
I do. Let's see. I went to La Jolla, Laguna Niguel, but there's another one. What was it? Something with he was the Padres hand surgeon. His wife went to college with my mother, and we went out when I was 13 and went to San Diego, and I'll never forget. It was gorgeous. It was the summer I discovered Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
The rock band. It was San Diego and Cheap Trick. It was very convoluted.
Cool.
Okay, well, we have to make sure. Say, Bobby, if you're gonna tell the story, you gotta have these things ready to go. Like remember the city. Can't go so far back that we don't remember.
Well, drugs were a part of it. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying.
There you go. All right.
Well, the more you live and the more you travel, the more everything just kind of blurs together, right?
The more you live, you have more to remember, and it gets hard.
This is
Yeah.
true. This is true. Well, welcome, Laina. We are a very unsophisticated start. So I'll cut us in at one point in post production, but now it's just kind of a warm up, get everybody's sound ready, make sure I'm not too loud, make sure we can hear Bobby, make sure we can hear you, that kind of thing. And then we'll find
It's
a
a
time.
little quiet for me.
Was that?
It's a little quiet for me. It's a little hard to hear you guys, but I'm trying.
My guess is that's probably not a volume issue on our end. We are usually fairly easy to hear.
Okay.
And oh, by
let
the way,
me
I remembered
see.
it's El Cajon.
El Cajon. Okay. That's
Yes.
just a little bit east of where I'm at. Meeting settings. I think I'm just gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah,
I
because
can
you
hear you
sound
guys
loud to
already.
us. We can hear you.
Really?
Yeah, you sound good, but something's funky if I'm not too loud. I've often got to remind myself to be quieter.
Oh, not with me. Okay. Okay. It'll be fine. I can hear you guys well enough. So.
Awesome. Well, what I want to do is start with, the obvious welcome. What I do on the podcast, what we do here is I'll do an introduction separately. So I record that separately, and I say, "Hey, founder and CEO of Insole," and I give a nice, clean introduction. But here's a little more informal as a start, like I said. So we'll have you introduce yourself, if you don't mind, and let us know who you are from, in your own words, other than me doing the introduction later. So if I can just ask,
Okay.
who are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up in putting out orthotics, because I got a lot of questions because I have no idea what I'm looking at. I can't even read half the words that are on your website. I'm taking the time. I'm like, I don't know what that word is, but I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep pretending I know. But who are you, and tell us about Insole.
My name's Laina, and I'm the founder of Insole. We do foot care. So I'm one of the main designers for all of our orthotics. We do arch supports that help with various foot problems such as overpronation, plantar fasciitis, oversupination, metatarsalgia. So we make different parts and pieces that people can use to offload pressure and redistribute the pressure and basically take foot pain away so that you can get back to doing the things you love.
Did we lose Shaun?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
So I was just saying that from what a tennis player loves to hear, which is take that soreness or take that pain away from my feet. To start about you, what's your background? How did you get into offering orthotics to in our world to our tennis players?
So my story started when I was about 17 years old. I just needed a job, and I interviewed at this shoe boutique in my neighborhood. I was supposed to just be selling shoes, and somehow I got the job. At that point in time, I only had 3 pairs of shoes. I had a pair of tennis shoes, a pair of flip-flops, and 1 pair of dress shoes. And I put those on and I went to the interview and somehow landed that job at 17 years old. It turned out that my boss was a biomechanist, and he was kind of like a mad scientist sort of person. He would bring people from walking with canes to walking again without pain. It was a lot of miracles that I was seeing, but he would have a lot of orthotics just piling up in the back that needed to be made. And I got to the point where I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, I see you're a little behind, and I know I'm a girl, but I don't mind getting my hands dirty and, maybe preparing things for you so that you can work on the complex stuff, and I'll just get things ready for you so we could speed this up." And he said, "Sure, yeah, let me teach you." And so that's where it started. And I ended up working under him for 7 years. I got really interested in helping people with their foot problems. When you help people with their foot problems, you really help give them their life back. And so I switched my major in school, and I studied biomechanics as well and kinesiology. And I was hand making custom orthotics out of that store. Eventually the store closed, and he and I both were working out of our garages. And I came up with some ideas that I was doing a lot for people. And the main one was the basic form for the shoe bubble, which is what our company is most well known for. It's the first product that we launched. I ended up getting a patent for it and getting it manufactured. It was many years of of work to get that done. Launched on Kickstarter, and the company has grown from there to having many products that help a wider variety of foot ailments.
And if I go back to that first product, you blow right by it. You say, we invented a shoe level. What is that? I don't know what that is.
So the shoe bubble is a micro-sized orthotic. It's very unique. Most orthotics go full length, so they go from under your heel to your toes, or they'll be partial length, so they go from under your heel to under your forefoot. They can help with, orthotics can help with issues such as, collapsing arches. But one of the main issues with these full length and partial length insoles is that they take up too much space in your shoes. So a lot of times you'll have to get a shoe that's a size bigger just to fit the orthotic, or it just changes the way the shoe fits so that you've got a longer shoe than you need just to fit the width, or your heel is raised up in the heel of the shoe so that the heel cup doesn't grip your heel as well, and your heel will just start flopping in and out of the shoe. The shoe bubble is different because it starts after the heel and it stops before the ball of the foot. So you've got arch support. It's got a rocker sort of shape to it to drop off before the heel and the forefoot. So in doing so, it's somewhat suspending the bones to offload pressure and redistribute that pressure more evenly across the foot, without taking up a bunch of space in your shoe or changing the way your shoe fits.
Okay, so there's a uniqueness here that I was working hard to understand. I've been going through it with my wife, and we've been talking about it, and she's got some questions about runner's knee that we'll get to in a second. But the smaller parts are unique to sole insole, because I have some insoles, some what I would call, or I was told, are orthotics that fit in the entire shoe. It's like a new insert, the whole thing. You take out the little thing that comes with it, and then you put in the new one, and it's the full shoe. Sometimes you have to cut it to fit it in there, and that's the thing that helps with whatever you're working on, right? You're talking about just a smaller part to target the specific thing that we're working on, so it doesn't have to completely replace whatever else is going on in the shoe itself.
Exactly. And I can show you, I've got an example right here. So this is the shoe bubble. It's a unique shape. You kind of would think, oh, where does that go in your shoe? So this would be for the right foot. I've got a sandal here just to kind of show you where it would go. It goes right in the middle of the shoe. So you can see how it increases the amount of arch support you've got right here.
Yeah.
And then it'll drop off before the heel and the forefoot. So it's only filling in that gap to softly bring your foot to where normal should be. That's the concept.
Because the ones I have that fit into a full shoe are not going to go into a sandal or a flip-flop, because they're designed to go into an athletic style shoe.
Yeah, you nailed it.
So yours, okay. I was trying to figure it out. What's the difference between what you're doing and, I guess, what everybody else does?
Yeah, so mine also go into flip-flops and sandals. They can fit into dress shoes, which are a more slimmer fitting shoe, but also athletic shoes. The one thing about athletic shoes, though, is that sometimes they come with some existing support. And the clear colored shoe bubble, this is our maximum thickness. So we have another option for shoes that have some existing support, but it just doesn't feel like quite enough. Then we have a thinner version that's black in color. It's the Pro Light. So a lot of athletes are using the Pro Light, especially tennis players, because a lot of these shoes have some support, but it's just not quite enough.
Sure. And in that case, we've got is a relatively tennis specific market that we target here. It's trying to find that that support that helps. I have a friend, you and I have been emailing previously. I have a friend, Alex, who struggled with plantar fasciitis pretty bad. He had to take a year and a half off from tennis. I mean, it was tough, and he ended up getting some orthotics. And you walked me through the difference of what I told you the one he was using, and you walked me through what you can help him with. And that leads me to the question of you've got reusable, yours are washable, which I like because I don't know that I would take the big floppy thing out and throw it in the
Yep.
dishwasher or
hmm
whatever it is for my orthotics. It looks like yours are better in that case to be able to clean it. Do they have a similar lifespan as the ones that would typically be out there? Do they live forever because they're magic plastic? How's that work?
Well, the cool thing is that they don't compress over time. They're made of a memory gel that's that's naturally adhesive on the bottom side. And so the only thing that really can happen over time is the adhesive can wear out. But we can fix that with double-sided tape. So that's another thing we offer to keep your insoles lasting longer. If eventually the adhesive wears out, you can use double-sided tape and stick it down. That's not washable like the original adhesive is, but you can continue to use them for year after year and continue to have that support in all of your shoes.
I like that a lot because it's not only affordable. I was looking at some pricing, thinking, okay, a little piece of plastic. Is this going to be one of
Mhm.
those things where my little piece of plastic is $800 because I got it from Emory Healthcare, or is it going to be a good price point? And I've really appreciated where you are with your pricing.
I mean, it's such a big deal to be able to afford to take care of your feet. When I was hand making orthotics, I still do occasionally for, especially for customers that used to come into the store that have known me for years. But it takes so much time to meet with people, to hand carve it, to meet with them again, make little micro adjustments. So they have to cost $400 because of all that time and the cost of materials. But being able to get these manufactured, I'm able to offer a solution for people's foot problems for 25 to $30. Some little parts and pieces that I sell, it's around $15. And you take someone who has been living in pain for the past year, and suddenly they can walk again and get out of the house, and they're not in pain, and it costs $15 or $30, not 400, $500. And so that's the goal, really. The next product I'm making is going to be a full length insole, because sometimes people do need extra cushioning in their shoes. So I'm going to make a really cushioned insole that all of the parts and pieces that we have can be attached to, and so you can customize the insole yourself. Do you guys want a sneak peek of the new product? I have a sample.
If you have
Sure.
one with us, we'll only get it
Okay,
on the video, of
look how
course. But yeah,
cool
we'd love
it
to see what's
looks.
going
And
on.
then it's got little lines on the bottom that you can place different pieces on, depending upon if you supinate, which is rolling to the outside edge of your shoe, pronate, which is collapsing to the inside, or if you're having forefoot pain, there's a space you can put a piece, a ramp, to tilt the foot backwards and lift up right behind those metatarsal heads to offload pressure. Or on the top, it's got the space to add the shoe bubble shape. Um, so yeah,
It
a
tells
sneak
you
peek.
where to put the pieces. I like that a lot. And
hmm
I get to ask Bobby. Bobby seems to complain every time we talk to somebody that I make some old person joke. But Bobby and I spend
Here it comes.
a lot of time on court as tennis coaches, and so the cushion helps a lot. It really is. I come home at the end of the day, and Bobby's on court more hours than I am, and there are a lot of guys in Atlanta as coaches and guys and girls that are all out there a lot and over hours. And it's one thing to have that support, which we really appreciate. Another thing to have that cushion
hmm
that helps in general. Bobby, are you in any orthotics right now? I know I'm using one from a general support. What do you use, if anything?
I don't, and I just took my shoe off because I wanted to get the terminology. I am notorious for wearing out, I guess, the back outside of my heel, and then
Ah,
the inside of the ball of my foot. The inside I can
okay.
understand because I mean, that's pushing off and loading in tennis, but the outside baffles me how I wear out shoes. And this is, I mean, that's a good pair. This is one of my newer pair of shoes. So I go through shoes in under 3 months most of the time, the way I walk. And I try, and I used to run track and long time ago and went to the orthopedic. He's like, well, son, you're pigeon-toed, knock-kneed, and bow-legged. You're going to have some issues. And I took that as get out of track. But obviously, like Shaun says, what we do, the place that I experience the most pain, unquestionably, is my feet and my ankles. So anything I can do to help, I'm very interested in.
So you have a less common foot ailment. So most orthotics that are over the counter are going to help the opposite issue, which is overpronation. When you wear out the outer corners of the heel edges of your shoes, it's a clear-cut sign of oversupination. Oversupination, you need an extra piece called a heel wedge. So this, I've actually got it here. So you want something extra that's thicker on the outside and it tapers to thinner on the inside to help tilt the foot back to a neutral position and help to stop you from wearing out your shoes so quickly. Yours, if you're wearing your shoes out in 3 months, you have a more significant case of oversupination. It's another thing that you really want to watch out for and rebalance your foot for, because you're going to be more prone to twisting your ankle and rolling
we
your
know
foot all
that.
the way to the outside, which can
Oh,
put you
yeah.
out for a long time.
Yes. So you have
if you
that
were
product,
to just
though.
get an over-the-counter orthotic, it's going to push you more to the outside in general. So you want to rebalance that out. You could get one if you need arch support, but then you would need to add some posting on the outside to rebalance the foot, and even more if you're counteracting an additional arch support, which will push you more to the outside, if that makes sense.
And that's a heel lift?
A heel wedge, yeah. So
heel wedge.
yeah, you can do heel wedges. I also have a product called a ramp, and that goes from thicker to thinner, but that's a piece that you can put on the outside or the inside or in various places. So either the heel wedge or the ramp. The ramps
Bobby,
are stackable.
This is a $16 product.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you got it, I'm buying them because, like I said,
and
I went in years ago and they said, oh yeah, this is going to cost you. And this was, again, a long time ago, several $100s. And, I was not rich. Shaun's saying he's not bringing up the age. It's him, but it was a long time ago. It's just fact.
Yeah.
And, that truly, I remember I said, oh, I'm just not going to run anymore. This is ridiculous, but it is where I experience the most amount of pain. And the shoes, just looking where my shoes wear out is hysterical. And I try to walk differently. No, I'm not young, but that's okay. But yeah.
I know, but when you're young and you're told it's going to be $600 to fix this foot issue, you're going to be like, I'm tough. I can tough this out. I don't need $600 orthotics. So
in that case, you're talking to the parents.
But even, at any age, you don't want to spend that much.
It's not just the coaches.
It's a lot.
That
it's
are
a
out
big
there.
investment.
Yeah, exactly. And not just the coaches.
Well, and then the big fear, like you said, it leads to the other injuries too, the susceptibility to, and inner knee pain was also something I experienced a lot back in the day. And it makes sense that if you're leaning one way, but you're going the other, you're constantly at odds with your body.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes me,
your alignments, if your alignment's off at your feet, your alignment is off at your ankles, knees, hips, and back. So it can affect your body all the way up.
Yeah. And that's
so my concept is a bit different than a lot of the custom orthotics out there. So I use soft materials to softly bring the feet to where normal should be. I have varying thicknesses that you can use to add support or posting, whatever's needed. A lot of times when you're going to get custom orthotics, they take a mold of your foot, they cast it, they send it out to a laboratory, and they send you back a plastic version of the bottom of your foot, maybe covered with a little bit of foam. To me, that's not the best. I mean, it can help to have arch support. So a lot of people will still have success with that, but it's not necessarily the best way to accomplish the same thing, because sometimes you're just basically, if you've got problems with your feet and you cast the bottom of your foot, you're just copying the bottom of your foot that has problems. With my way, I'm softly bringing you to where normal should be and offloading pressure. And also by using soft materials, you've got better impact absorption. So for people who do sports like tennis, basketball, you're running, you're jumping, you need impact absorption. So if you put a hard plastic orthotic in your shoe, you're counteracting the shoe's impact absorption with the foams that are in the outsole. So soft materials, or just, adding something in the middle of the foot is a better option, so that you have better impact absorption when you're landing. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. Yes. I'm sold.
I say Bobby's in. And my question in that case then is from when Bobby mentioned it, also some inner knee pain. Are we looking at something? We were looking at one of the products earlier. My wife had some runner's knee issue. I can't even pronounce what the actual name of runner's knee is. But that kind of thing. You've got something specifically that can help with that, simply focused on an orthotic?
Well, it really depends. I'd have to see her feet to understand why, because it's not always from the same thing with that issue. So you'd have to know, like, is she an overpronator? Are her arches dropping? And basically you want to get your feet into alignment, whether the arches are dropping and you need to raise them up, or if you're tilting to the outside, then you've got to bring yourself more in. And once you get your feet in better alignment and your ankles in better alignment, your knees can also be in better alignment, so that you're not going to have an issue like this. But rest is really important as well for runner's knee. You gotta take a break and let your body heal.
And that might
Nobody likes to hear that. Nobody wants to stop.
Yeah, taking time off is hard to say yes to. Because my question there is, Jovi, my wife is a Pilates instructor by trade, so her ability to keep her body aligned is better than most. So we read through you've got some good educational information on the website as well, which I would want to tell you about, or tell everybody about. It's insole.com. And it's the education hub. I kind of looked through, and the shop has your 6 or 7, specifically targeted, I think 7 specifically targeted products. Definitely looking forward to that full length cushioned one for sure. Definitely for tennis players. And a few testimonials. Yeah. This education space is really good, because these are the main things that we see a lot, which is
it's not all about, just providing orthotics. We also want to teach people that it's important to exercise your feet. A lot of times when you have foot pain, you kind of want to ignore it. So you think, oh, feet just hurt. And so you somewhat will cut off the connection between your brain and your feet to just ignore that pain. And then things can get worse and worse and worse. I think that it's really important to exercise your feet, to bring awareness back to your feet, so that you can help figure out what you need to do to heal. So a lot of people, you say, oh, can you lift your toes up? And they go, I can't move my toes. I don't have control over how to move my toes. And I almost felt like that myself when I first tried. I saw one of my friends, and she was able to lift her toes up like this. And I was like, that's really weird. Who can do that? But, through doing yoga, and then also through practicing that, I realized how beneficial it is to gain control over your feet, move your toes, be able to lift all 4 toes up at the same time, and be able to lift up just to your big toe. It helps to build muscle strength in your feet too. So if you do things like that, you point your toes, you do balancing exercises, those sort of things will build musculature in your feet. And when you build the muscles up in your feet, it protects the ligaments and the tendons. And so in addition to wearing orthotics, if you build up the muscle strength in your feet, you're going to be so much healthier and happier and feel more balanced and have more control while you're playing your sports. I have a video online. If you look up Insole foot exercises, there's a bunch of exercises on there that you can do to strengthen your feet. and
That's
it
true.
helps with a wide variety of foot ailments. And even if your feet don't hurt, there's no reason not to just do some of these exercises while you're standing around and when you have a little bit of time. It doesn't take that much time, but it makes a big difference.
And you said
So this is
videos online. That's your YouTube channel, right?
On YouTube, yeah, just
Okay.
search our brand name Soul Insole foot exercises. You'll find us.
so how do people find you? Like you said, this is a process. I wake up, the normal person, I'm a tennis player, I have a foot pain. I go to the podiatrist, I go to the orthopedic, I go online. I mean, we always say don't try to self-diagnose online. How do we
Mhm.
find you? And being that, are you in places, you go in these places now that have kiosks, put your foot here and we'll tell you everything that's wrong with your foot. How do we find you and get the specific help that we need? That these probably are selling more of a blanket protection that aren't going to address the intricacies that you do.
I mean, there are a ton of brands out there, so it is easy to get lost in the shuffle, and I think it's really easy for a customer to not know what's going to be best for them. But eventually, through the WordWorks, you try different things, and then you hear from word of mouth from a friend who's tried them before, or we have a lot of doctors that recommend our orthotics, podiatrists, physical therapists, chiropractors. So a lot of people find out about us through going to physical therapy or going to a chiropractor, and they say, "Hey, like, you're out of alignment. Let me get you back into alignment. And then this will help keep you in alignment longer if you support your feet." And then there are stores like Foot Solution, Birkenstock, the Foot Comfort shoe stores. We're in some of those, a couple hundred throughout the US. And then we're also online. So, various physical therapists and podiatrists have written articles recommending our products after they've seen success with their clients. So it's, and also Kickstarter gave the first boost. So it's kind of funny how what a reach that platform had for us. I still get customers in random places like Singapore. And I think that just happens because of word of mouth from the original Kickstarter campaign from 7 years ago. So it's pretty cool to be able to ship insoles to random islands that I never even heard of before. People can find out through the internet, through a doctor, through a friend that has worn our insoles before, and we ship them everywhere. It's amazing.
So following up with Bobby's question about where you're findable as products go, is it just the website? Is it Amazon? Did I miss that? Where
Oh yeah,
else?
we're
Like I
also on
know.
Amazon.
Okay. Just
Yeah, you can find us on Amazon. We're on a few websites like the Insole store. We have our own website, www.soulinsole, SOULINSOLE.com, like your heart and soul, SOUL. So that's our website. If Amazon's easier for you, then that works. And then we've got other online retailers that sell our products on their comfort shoe websites.
yeah, no, we've got our um, deal up. We've got a Soul in Soul where our GoTennis members get 10% off, which we appreciate, which is exciting for the GoTennis
Oh yeah.
members specifically, which doesn't go directly toward Amazon, but that's some of
Yes.
those places where we can give reviews and say, hey, this is the greatest insole protection. This is the greatest orthotic. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I can walk again. Try to get those reviews out there and share even more. And I've got one more question, and I've got to ask that we ask everybody, but I wanted to make sure Bobby had all of his questions handled because he's the one that usually toward the end he's got something that I haven't thought of.
No, I'm just trying to. You asked the question, so I know where to go get them.
Okay, yeah, making sure everybody knows where to get it. And I
I
know,
have to
Yeah,
get a pair
and
of
all of
these.
your fans, I just wanted to repeat, all of your fans can get a discount with the promo code GoTennis on our website. We want to make sure that, everybody that you care about can have a little discount to help out and give them a chance to try it out.
and we
You're
appreciate
interested.
that. That's as a tennis community having affordable orthotics. I mean, it sounds like it sounds like a boring conversation. Let's talk about orthotics today, but it really is extra helpful. And as my wife agrees with you completely, that exercise of the feet, she got me into Pilates, and as you're sitting here talking about people not being able to move their toes, I'm wiggling my toes like people can't do this, and just thinking to myself, that's
Uh-huh.
hopefully we've got ways to help the tennis community here. And I don't know, Laina, do you have any personal tennis experience at all? No, I see her frozen. Did we lose her?
Uh-oh. Is
I got
Lena
Bobby
gone?
moving, but I got
I'm
Laina
here.
frozen.
El Cajon might have just had an earthquake.
Oh, that would be not good. Okay, we lost her. We'll see if we can get her back for our, I don't know, got to figure out how to ask the king of tennis question to somebody who may not play tennis.
Well, it's good because when I teach, I always say it starts from the ground up. So if you're not taking care of where it starts, there's going to be problems in the future. So it
Energy.
makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
All
And I
right,
know people.
cut out some
There we
help.
go.
We got you back.
Was it an earthquake?
Oh yeah, I definitely I love that I'm talking to someone in the tennis community because I love tennis myself. It's something that I have kept up for sporadically for my whole life. It's such a good way to stay healthy and stay active. I know a lot of people who play tennis transition to pickleball later in life too, and I haven't gotten a chance to learn that sport, but that's on my list of something to try.
It's popular, and I'll admit it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I've got one last question that we ask everybody, and I don't know if you've put much thought into it that I sent in the preview email, asking it's what we call my king of tennis question. And again, whether it has to do with tennis, whether it has to do with foot health, whether it has to do with just kind of your point of view personally, if you were king or maybe queen of tennis in your case, is there something you would do? You'd have everybody have healthy feet, and here's how we do it. Or do you have any ideas as to what you would do if you were king or queen of tennis for a day?
Oh my gosh. I would love the chance to design actual tennis shoes. Maybe eventually I'm gonna get into shoe design, but I'm starting with the insoles. Um, so putting good insoles that are right for your unique needs would be helpful. Doing foot exercises are helpful. Also, reaching for the toes and stretching your calves can be really important for runners and tennis players. A lot of times you end up with tight calves, and so making sure that your calves aren't too tight is important to protect yourself from injuries as well.
Oh
Um,
my! You
uh,
just opened up
those are a
Pandora's
few
box.
tips.
Okay, so there we go, Shaun. She did it. She got me on two things because and this is funny because it's seemingly what I find on the court now. The new injury in tennis for the older players specifically is the calf injury, and the way I approach it is, we're essentially science experiments. People our age in the past did not continue to exercise, compete at the levels that we are today. So we are a work in progress trying to find out why all of a sudden does a certain spot your calf becomes less elastic. Obviously hydration has a lot to do with it, not stretching properly. So that's a great point because so many people, my buddy, one of my teaching pros, has chronic, and this is an Olympic athlete, chronic calf injury issues. So
Mhm.
it starts with the feet is what you got to take care of your feet to make sure that as you go up everything else stays in place. So what have you found? Have you been able to locate the demographic of your client right now? Just out of curiosity.
You cut out a little bit. The demographic.
Yeah, the more than anything, the age at which people start, or the age that people buy your product. What would you call your most loyal, or where do you see the most people? I'm just trying to I'm curious.
I do think that most of our customers are 50 plus, but it's not because people younger don't have foot pain. It's more that younger people push through their foot pain and just deal with it a little bit better. Once it becomes really debilitating, and also when you're older, you've heard stories of other people healing themselves through wearing orthotics, so you give them more of a chance. So it's not that people who are younger don't have foot pain and don't need orthotics. It's just that that's who we've been able to reach more first, and who's wearing our insoles more. I wanted to mention one more thing about the calf issue. So if you imagine your body, you've got fascia, which is a connective tissue, and this connective tissue goes from your calves all the way to under the bottom of your feet. So when you've got tight calves, it pulls on the fascia underneath the bottom of your feet. And so that can even be a part of causing plantar fasciitis for some people. So stretching your calves can be very helpful for your feet.
It's a connection.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. And you debunked my theory. I was hoping the younger generation was getting smarter in going to try to find solutions earlier rather than the older people mentality of tough it up. But oh well on that.
Well, that's that's why I wanted to make these ones look cool. I mean, look at the design.
To get them excited.
Maybe
It looks cool.
having it look cool will make it more attractive for younger people to protect their feet before the injuries happen.
Well, because it's a generation that's trained to go to the internet and find things. So that's why I was curious. That was my train of thought, that this is more along their sweet spot, where the older generation, as you said about pickleball, the older people transitioning to pickleball, this is a certain demographic. Are they finally getting to the point that they realize that help's okay? It's not a bad word to ask for help and to try to find the support. We always laugh. There's certain areas of the body everybody puts on their elbow brace, before they go play, or their knee guard. You ask them, did your doctor tell you to wear that brace? No, but I'm like, okay, so forget it, just self-diagnosis. But there is a need to take care of the body beyond just trying to put a band-aid on it. Find the root causes. And I love the idea that your products adjust to your foot, so you are trying to address more than just a band-aid. So I think it's very important.
And that's one of the best things about the thinner version of my orthotic, the Pro Light, is that it can be used for preventative purposes. So even if you're not experiencing any major foot pain at this time, it's not a reason to not provide support for your feet and keep your feet and your body in alignment. So it won't feel like too much when you're using the thinner Pro Light, but it's there for you in case you land too hard. Then your arch doesn't collapse and overstretch and you don't get a tear in it, and it won't put you out from your game for months. So it's really important to protect yourself before the injury, and use it's not that expensive to do, and it's not that hard to do. And I hope that with education and more videos like this, we can inspire more people to have better health for their feet.
I think that's a good target, because if we can talk prevention, I think that's a good direction to go. Especially we get a Pro Light in everybody's tennis bag. Is kind of that target to say, hey, before you get injured, before you turn 50 and your brain kicks in and says, oh, maybe I should just take better care of myself. Let's do that at 15 years old. Let's have the parents look at this and say, hey, now we can afford these orthotics. And when my son says, or my daughter says, the outside of my foot's kind of bothering me. Well, okay, hey, we've got a bag we bought one of everything. So here we go. And we're ready to prevent those injuries long term. I think that's a good plan. And I think what we're doing here, as what we're trying to do for the Atlanta area specifically, obviously isn't necessarily stuck here. You obviously have a global reach, as you've mentioned. And from our point of view, we're trying to make sure that everybody in the Atlanta area to start has all this information. I love the idea of getting these orthotics into tennis bags where, hey, I buy one of everything. It's still cheaper than going out and getting that custom orthotic for $400 or $500. And you've done a great job of keeping the price points acquirable. That's fantastic.
Thank you. And thanks for helping share. Make such a difference.
That's a lot of what this is, and I know Bobby's going back on court, and we've all got
Well, it's
things to do.
starting to rain a little bit, so I'm going to go get the balls out from the wetness. That's
There you
the
go. We got one
Wind
thing we
shield.
care about is keeping the tennis balls dry. But Laina, we really appreciate the time you've spent with us. I'm gonna make
It's
sure.
raining here too,
Oh.
if you can believe
Oh,
it, in San
it
Diego.
doesn't rain in San Diego. Never, never.
I don't
It's
believe
gonna
you.
rain the rest of the week.
I
We need
don't
it though.
believe you.
It's good for us.
There you go. Well, we appreciate the time. I will make sure those links, like you said, you've got the YouTube with some foot health information, which is great.
Oh,
It looks
yeah.
like Soul Insole, SOUL, as you said. I'll make sure all those links are in the show notes when we publish. I'll put the links in the comments in our YouTube page as well. And we will make sure everybody has a Pro Light in their tennis bag to start and see if we can help get the word out about foot health.
Thank you, Shaun.
I appreciate your time. Bobby, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Bobby.
for
Nice to meet you.
nice
Thanks,
meeting
Laina.
you too.
Take care.
Have a great week.